Greetings, Spartans. I have decided that today I'm going to have to do this with some headphones on. I'm having all kinds of audio issues lately. These little Bluetooth little speaker headphone things I've been trying to use for a while, they keep distorting the audio. I keep having all kinds of problems with the audio because of it. But it's so much easier just to plug the stupid thing in. But anyway, you didn't come here to listen to my technical problems. You came here to listen to my take on current news. I know it's been a while. I haven't been out there putting anything out. I'm going to try to get back on the horse with that. Life, beyond just all the crazy political stuff. Life is just life. And sometimes you got to deal with that too. But today, I want to try and keep a promise to someone I've known for a very long time, and they know who they are. If they're listening, they're probably not, but if they do happen to jump on here, I promised them that I was going to show them a lot of stupid stuff these guys have been doing lately. And, I could have started with all the Doge cuts and just the stupid ways they're gone about slashing the federal government like it's just a warm stick of butter, I guess. I don't know what metaphor you want to insert in there. A katana through a watermelon, whatever. But I didn't. One, I've been busy, and two, I felt like I needed something more than that. And then I could have said something about them slashing cancer research or bird flu research or cutting funding for farmers or for schools or for a whole host of different things. But I didn't forget about it. And I think now I've finally gotten to the point that I'm ready to keep that promise. And I actually don't have just one thing today. I got three that I want to talk about. So the first one, let's just kind of jump into that here real quick. Let me pull this up here. There we go. All right, I got it going. Let's see, where am I at? Okay. So I'm going to kind of sit over here for a second. So the first one is about actually it's a twofer. It's the Small Business Administration and what's going on with the Department of Education and all the student loans. So the student loan portfolio is about $1.6 trillion, give or take. I like to think I have contributed a significant portion to that. So this affects me directly. So they decided to give that entire student loan portfolio to the Small Business Administration. And there you go. You can get a membership off on Forbes. Anyway, so they're going to give it to the Small Business Administration, right? Okay. I mean, as far as stupid ideas go, it's not the worst. I mean, at least they do handle a lot of big loans and small business loans and things like this. Okay, I mean, I still feels like a lateral kind of move, but okay, whatever. I mean, that's not terrible. So does that mean that they're going to send a bunch of the people from the education department to the Small Business Administration to help facilitate this transfer, to help show the people over there that are going to take this over, kind of the ins and outs, help them assimilate it, get it going, make sure that they because they promised there was going to be no interruption in services, right? That's their key. So do they have things in place to help make that happen? If they do, they're being very quiet about it because I don't see it. What I see was that they fired basically half the people that work at the Department of Education, several thousand people. And then they're just going to take this small business loan thing, or take the student loans and give it to the Small Business Administration guys. So they're hiring more people at the Small Business Administration to help facilitate this, right? If nothing else, because it's a whole other portfolio of crap. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of information that they're going to have to learn and try to keep going on the fly, especially if there's going to be no interruption services. So they're going to, if they're not taking people from the education department, putting them in the Small Business Administration, they're going to at least hire more people for the Small Business Administration to help them with this transfer, right? Well, that very same day, about 3 days ago, actually, just 3 days ago, they also decided to announce they were cutting 40% of the Small Business Administration workforce, which comes out to about 2,700 people just lost their jobs. Bye. You know, I don't think it requires a master's degree in mathematics to understand that this math, it don't math. So you're taking a huge portion from one part of the government, you're giving it to another, and instead of helping that transfer with extra staffing or staffing from the other part that you're getting rid of, you're actually going to cut the one you're giving it all to by half, and then give them this whole other big piece of the thing to do, this whole big other part of the pie to work on. You know, even stupid people can't be that stupid. You know, there's a point to this. You don't just do this thinking this is all going to work out just fine. You do this because you want it to break, because you want it not to work, because it's not going to. It barely works as it is. I mean, I'm all on board with anybody with a good idea about how to make things run better and run more responsively to the American people and for less money. I'm all about that. Sure, let's do that. Let's talk. This, I mean, if you can't understand why they're doing it because they don't want it to work, because it's not going to work. Like I said, it barely works as it is. Trust me, I deal with it every few months. So that's just fucking dumb. Moving on. The next thing I want to highlight is the recent and very highly publicized apprehension and deportation of all these supposed Venezuelan gang members under the American or the Aliens Act of 17 whatever, where they didn't get any due process, they didn't get any kind of court hearing, they just got rounded up, put on a plane, and sent the hell out of Dodge. At least 3 of them that I know of, that I've heard of so far, families and supporters have been out in the streets trying to petition, trying to get someone to listen to them and tell people that they're not gang members, that they never were, that they were just profiled and rounded up and got their butts kicked out of the country so that they could, pad somebody's pocket, most likely this El Salvadoran dictator in this super crazy prison. One of them was a professional soccer player. I remember seeing something about this one. He apparently has a tattoo, some kind of soccer tattoo, and there was a social media post about him throwing the horns, which is some kind of sign thing, which I've seen a lot of people in Texas throw, especially Ted Cruz and the governor of Texas, and a lot of other of those people doing that because it's just something they do, you know? Okay, whatever. Some people throw a peace sign, some people throw the horns, whatever. Apparently that's all it took for him to get rounded up in this. The other one was apparently a shoe salesman, social media guy from Venezuela. No criminal record. And then the other one I heard of was a hairstylist, a gay hairstylist who had been apparently tortured and ridiculed and everything else because he was gay. And he came to America looking for some kind of freedom, some kind of hope. And what happened? We rounded him up and sent him to a fucking hellhole on earth. That's America? That's what we're supposed to be doing? Just rounding people up because they look a little brown and they got a tattoo and maybe they throw some kind of weird sign with their hands every now and then? That's what we do now? Unbelievable. I mean, I don't understand how you can call yourself a good person, call yourself a Christian, like a lot of these people do. I gotta get this camera thing straightened up and do this kind of crap to people. How do people not sleep well at night? I don't get it. And then of course I saw Steve Bannon actually on some kind of podcast talking about this and hoping that there would be innocent people rounded up, and saying he can't wait to hear people complain about it. Well, I'm complaining about it. And I think it's fucking ridiculous. And it's not strength. It's not America first. And it certainly isn't lowering prices of anything. It's just evil. It is evil. It is wrong. I mean, you want to catch people up in some kind of raid and then at least give them some kind of hearing and give people a chance at least to prove that they're not who they say they are. I mean, that's something. At least that's by the law. This resurrecting some act from 200 years ago, and the only times we ever used it before was in the darkest times of our history, where we rounded up Japanese people and Germans and Italians. For this? Fucking stupid. And now we move on to the most recent, which was today, where we found out that apparently top security officials, and when I say top, I mean top. I mean Secretary of Defense, Fox News host, rapist, allegedly, Pete Hegseth, and the Vice President, they're eating our cats and dogs, J.D. Vance, along with about 18 other top national security officials, including Tulsi Gabbard, who's supposed to be our spy director, and all kinds of other people, on a Signal app. Chatting on a Signal app about the military strike against the Houthis in Yemen. And how do we know about this? We know about it because the editor-in-chief at the Atlantic Independent Journalism Institute, Jeffrey Goldberg, who every time I hear that name I think about the actor, but it's not him.
A coupon day or something.
Yes. Gee, the lack of humility before nature that's being displayed here staggers me.
Well, thank you, Dr. Malcolm, but I think things are a little bit different than you and I had feared.
Yeah, I know. They're a lot worse.
Now, wait a second. Now, we haven't even seen the
No,
part where you feel...
don't let him talk. There's no reason. No, I want to hear every viewpoint. I really do.
Yeah, don't you see the danger, John, inherent in what you're doing here? Genetic power is the most awesome force the planet's ever seen, but you wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun.
It's hardly appropriate to start hurling generalizations.
If I may, I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Somehow got included on this text chain. And apparently he didn't believe it. He thought he was being punked, or, somebody was trying to get one over on him or something. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it either if suddenly I'm getting text messages from what looks like the Secretary of Defense and the Vice President and the National Intelligence people talking about a military strike. I wouldn't have believed it, but he was curious. I would have been too. And he just watched it. And there were times and information on locations and what targets they were going to hit and how they were going to hit them. And he just started watching. And right at the time when they said in this chain the operation was going to happen, it happened. I mean, talk about the biggest breach. I mean, it has to be one of the biggest national security intelligence breaches I've ever seen. I mean, this would be like when Obama was watching over the operation that got Osama bin Laden. This would be like if someone just happened to be on a text message during that whole thing, just watching it all happen in real time, or watching the, all the planning for it go on beforehand, and getting all this information and just being like, well, this ain't real. There's no way. And then it happens. I mean, these are the very same people who for years have decried and criticized and called for people to go to jail for criminal prosecutions of people who do not take proper care of our national security and our top secret information. In fact, let's just listen to a smidgen of that, shall we?
Talking about Hillary Clinton's emails.
But her emails.
Because
JD.
this idea that Hillary Clinton had classified or top secret or sensitive information that was not secured properly, it may have cost her the 2016 election, and it became the dominant reason why Republicans said she shouldn't be trusted. And so these Republicans have some choice words about people who do not handle our national security secrets with the utmost care and attention. Let's listen to signal chain participant, our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, circa 2016.
When I'm president of the United States, neither she nor any of these other people are going to be above the law, whether it's her or Eric Holder for what he did on Fast and Furious, or any of these other folks. People are going to be held accountable if they broke the laws of this country. This president obviously is willing to protect his political cronies. But we're going to hold people accountable. Nobody is above the law, not even Hillary Clinton, even though she thinks she is.
So this is important because there's a theme to these clips and what the Republicans were saying, which is accountability was the word of the day, the watchword. What we need,
I remember that.
Hillary Clinton cannot be trusted, we must have accountability.
Before we move on to the next one, though, Sarah, does it give you a little bit of joy to hear Marco say, when I am president? Because I can tell you when you're going to be president, Marco. Fucking day after never.
And you know what? He was always this guy. It's just we didn't know. And if there was one upside to, Donald Trump, it is that he revealed
Let's go on up to the next
a number
one.
of Seth who should never, ever have been
Pete
confirmed
Hegseth.
in the first place. Let's listen to how he thinks one should be
On his prior
treated
assignment as a Fox News
if one does
host.
not protect
I
top
want to
secret
remind
information.
everybody.
She's got two problems here. Two words, top secret.
Right. Yeah.
Before it was servers, it was classified. It was sort of this amorphous idea that maybe it was wrong. Everyone knows what top secret means. I've had a top secret clearance. It's big red flashing letters, top secret. You know when you're looking at something that's top secret or dealing with it. In this case, the public will resonate with that. Hey, if you're hiding that on a private server, that's a very real problem.
Well, and the other
likely
thing is,
criminal charges
and the other
to follow if they're
Likely.
clear about it.
Likely criminal charges. Likely. I want to let's get to this other Pete Hegseth one, and then we can talk about Pete. Let's do this.
If this were a Republican divulging the secrets of our nation at the very highest level,
The very highest
in
level.
prison, there
A
would be
Republican?
outrage across the board. But
Prison.
here, it's covered up. It's incredible.
No, the double standard is incredible. Imagine if it was,
Yes,
I don't know,
the
Donald
double
Trump, what the
standard-
media would be
the-
doing
no,
to
no,
him
no.
right now,
The double
eviscerating
standard
him.
is
Or
incredible.
imagine if it was a member of the military, which we've seen from General Cartwright and General Petraeus. They still go after these guys for a tiny, tiny fraction of what she willfully did and betrayed her country
Is
in
it a
doing
tiny
so,
fraction this time?
supposedly for convenience, but actually so
Yeah,
she
what
could have a
about this
different set
one?
of standards
Is
and
this
hide her conduct and the
teeny
conduct
tiny?
of the Clinton Foundation, Benghazi, everything else, so she could stay away from and above the law. And it turns out foreign services want to know what our Secretary of State thinks. In this instance, they did whatever they could to break
that
an
sounds bad, Pete.
unsecure server in her basement.
Really?
It tells you everything you need to know.
Wait a second. It's actually
people in China or
worse
Russia
than that,
might wanna know
because
what we think,
some of those emails
think?
using that unsecured
Maybe?
private server were to and from the President of the United States.
Sure.
Oh,
So
my.
these foreign intelligence services were reading the emails of President Obama. I don't believe we've ever seen anything like that before, ever.
No, of course
Never.
not. And potentially in real time. The technology that others can use once they've got into devices is to listen and see in real time. Who knows what they heard and what they have. And the kind of leverage that gives in negotiations or conversations when you know what our hand is and you can anticipate it or get in front of it. Or you know our sources and methods, because we know aides to Hillary Clinton also removed markings so that they could send classified, sometimes secret, top secret information to her personal email, which our enemies were potentially
do we
reading
know
in
that?
real time. That has consequences, including lives and reputation of this great country.
Okay.
All right, Sarah goes on there to dissect things a little bit. And by the way, this is the Bulwark. They're an independent journalist organization. I would say they lean more center-right a lot of the times. Definitely center, but a lot of them are actually come from a lot of former Republican what's the word I'm looking for? Journalism and political political committees where they did, speech writing and different things like that. But they go on to talk about how this app, this Signal app, and that's probably not the best picture to leave her on. Let's find. We'll just kind of throw this to the curb for a second. Oh, wrong button. There we go. There we go. So anyway, they go on to talk about how, if we found them using this commercial encrypted text app, Signal, it's been around for a while, and it's, in my mind, it's not surprising. I mean, a lot of right-wing, kind of more paramilitary groups, a lot of the people on January 6th, a lot of these guys will use it because it deletes the history of your messages. It encrypts it, and after so much time, it deletes it all. So it's hard to trace. It's hard to track. It's hard for someone to try and get a hold of. But I'll tell you what, it's not. It's not foolproof. And it's certainly not approved by the U.S. government as a means of communication. And it certainly doesn't live up to all the laws that demand record keeping and keeping of information and meetings and communications. And all that's supposed to go to where? The archives. At the end of every administration, when all that information goes to the National Archives, we have all these laws that say all that information is supposed to go to the National Archives, supposed to keep records of everything. And this doesn't do that. This doesn't keep our records. Deletes it all, actually. Which is great if you're, wanting to try and keep things hidden, keep it hard for people to track what you're doing. But if you just happen to add a random reporter who's on your phone to the chain, they're going to see it all. If you happen to add some random person that just so happens to be a Russian spy or a Chinese spy, they're going to see it all. If you happen to add someone who you know who you're adding, but guess what? Their phone has been compromised by a virus or a bug or something like that. Because they have access to your phone, they have access to your Signal app communications. Because again, this is not an approved government communication. So you know what? You're screwing around with classified information. You're screwing around with top secret information. And if there was any justice in the world, after all the times you guys went on about how important classified information is and top secret information, and how can't believe someone would act like that, and there should be criminal charges, and their people should lose their jobs, and all this, and on and on and on, and people have gone to jail for far worse, for far less. If there was any justice in the world, this would be the end of the Trump administration. Because the hypocrisy is so thick at this point, it would take a chainsaw about 20 feet long just to start cutting through it. And again, the fact that this reporter got added to this text chain was just fucking stupid. And no, apparently Trump, or Timu Hitler as I like to call him, he wasn't added on the chain. J.D. Vance was. The head of our National Intelligence Service, Tulsi Gabbard, she was on there. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Our Secretary of Defense. Other cabinet members. Other people involved. And it's not like it was that hard to know who was in the group. All you had to do was just kind of tap the group button and it would expand out, show you everybody on the list. So while this last one is not directly necessarily completely directly, with a pinpoint accuracy linked straight to Donald Trump, guess what? He hired all of them. And if you surround yourself with stupid, You know what that makes you? Makes you kind of stupid. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to call it for this one. We've got a lot of crap to go. If anybody knows of any town halls for Hal Rogers, certainly let me know. If anybody knows of any town halls where Hal Rogers probably won't be there, but there will be other people there, I'd like to know that too. If anybody wants to run against Hal Rogers, please let me know, because I'd love to throw some support behind you. And yeah, that's where I'm going to end it. So stay strong, Spartans. Hang in there. It's not even been 100 days yet. I know. Hopefully people are starting to wake up a little bit. These guys aren't talking about your grocery prices. They're not talking about our gas prices. They don't care. All they care about is trying to privatize Social Security right now and cutting as much as they need to from everything else. Medicaid, Medicare. They don't care. Any kind of funding for anything, research or school funding. I've seen all kinds of cuts for food banks and school lunch programs. I mean, what the crap? These guys don't care. They don't care. And until enough of us finally wake up to that truth, we're in a bad place. But hang in there, Spartans. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.